Really excited to be here today. We want to thank Nikki Kaufman, Mary Laura, Ginger, and Allie, all here at Parnassus, for helping make this happen. And we have a really great lineup. You guys are going to enjoy the show. And first up is our host, Mary Laura Philpott, author and illustrator of Penguins with People Problems. She's the founding editor of Musings, the online magazine of Parnassus Books, and the co-host of A Word on Words on Nashville Public Television. She is a Pushcart Prize nominated essayist whose writing has appeared in publications such as the New York Times, the Los Angeles Times, the Toast, and the Hairpin. Mary Laura is going to read a new essay today called Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea. But first, she's got a couple of book recommendations for us. Enjoy.
Hello. Y'all hear me okay? I'm so excited about this. I apologize if my arms are shaking. I'm not nervous. I went paddleboarding with my kids yesterday. And they were like, see if you can keep up with us, Mom. And I was like, you guys are kids. I can keep up. And now I can't feel my arms. They're like jello. I'm so happy to see this crowd here. I think this is such a natural pairing, live storytelling and a room full of stories. It's kind of insane that it has not happened before now. And you know whose fault it is that it has not happened before now? Me. 2 years ago, I moved back to Nashville, and I got an email from some guy named Christopher Pilney, and it said, I have a storytelling series, and I would like to get your bookstore involved in it. And I looked him up on Twitter to see who he was. And his handle is Not Real Chainsaw. And his bio line says, I worked in Victoria's Secret once. So I told my boss, Karen, it's a stalker, don't worry. And he kept emailing, and he was so nice. And finally, after several more emails and several more months, I went back to Karen and I said, I don't know, I think maybe Underwear Chainsaw Guy is nice. And we should really look into this. So I'm really happy that it's finally happening. We have some wonderful readings for you. I want to start by telling you, if you've never been to one of our events before, we have about 400 events a year. And if you want to know what's coming up, you can go to our website. It's parnassusbooks.net and sign up for our email newsletter. It comes out twice a month, and it just tells you what's coming up on our calendar. On that same website, you can click over to our online magazine called Parnassus Musing, and that's where we have interviews with visiting authors. We have Ann Patchett's blog, our Shop Dog blog. All the wonderful booksellers who work here make lists of books that you should read every month. So make sure you're signed up for those things. In between the readings, I'm going to be giving some book recommendations, so let me grab one. Okay. So you've probably already read Yes, Please by Amy Poehler. If not, we haven't. You've probably already read Tina Fey's Bossy Pants. If not, we haven't. But have you read Tim Notaro's new book? It's fantastic. She is hilarious. She's a wonderful storyteller and stand-up comedian. We've got plenty of copies of it. Definitely check it out. I highly recommend it. It's over there in autobiography and memoir, and it's also over there on our new nonfiction table. So those are my first book recommendations, and now I'm going to read an essay that I have never read in front of humans before. So I would love feedback with your face. Like if it's funny, you can laugh, and if it makes you cry, you can cry. If it gets boring, you can go. So, thank you. I was 7, I was bored, and I had already pillaged our living room bookshelves for everything except the Stephen King and Daniel Steele, which I couldn't reach. So I grabbed what was left one afternoon, a dusty, leather-bound book of short stories by Hans Christian Andersen. It fell open to The Little Mermaid. Now, the Disney movie of the same name didn't come out until I was in high school, so this was the first I'd heard of A Little Mermaid, which is as it should be, because it's the original. The story begins with a set of mermaid sisters having an existential conversation with their grandmother. The youngest sister has just witnessed a shipwreck and helped a drowning human prince to shore, and she wants to know, how long do people live? How long do mermaids live? What happens when you die? You can see how it appealed to a 7-year-old. Mermaids, according to the grandmother, live for 300 years. Humans live a shorter time, but when they die, their souls live on forever. Not so for mermaids. Is there anything I can do to get an immortal soul? The mermaid asks. Well, the grandmother says, and I'm summarizing here, if a human marries you, you can catch his eternal life, kind of like an STD, and then you'll have it too. But that's pretty much impossible because mermaids can't walk on land, so tough tail fin sisters. Among the many ways the short story differs from the Disney cartoon are no singing crabs, no oyster shell bikinis, and a key distinction found in this line: she could not forget the charming prince, nor her sorrow that she had not an immortal soul like his. See, in the story, the Little Mermaid thinks the prince is cute, but she doesn't go back for him because he's such an irresistible dream nugget. She goes back because she wants his soul. The way I read it, she's not lovesick. She's ambitious. But to get what she wants, she has to strike a raw deal with a bad witch and trade away her voice to get feet. So once she's up there in his world, she can't tell her story. She can't say a word. Having overestimated her mute powers of persuasion, the mermaid has to watch silently as the prince meets and falls in love with someone else. After the prince and his new bride are married on the deck of a grand ship, the quiet mermaid stays up all night gazing at the waves because she knows she failed to seal the deal. And according to the witchy bargain, she won't live past sunrise. Then just before morning, she sees her sisters rise to the surface, waving frantically. It turns out that in this bizarre underwater commerce where you can buy magic with your body parts, they've traded their long, beautiful seaweed hair for one last out. There's a way the Little Mermaid can save herself. The witch has given us a knife, they say. Before the sun rises, you must plunge it into the heart of the prince. When his warm blood falls upon your feet, they will grow together again, and you will once more be a mermaid. Or, in a few minutes, the sun will rise, and you must die. Kill or be killed. Talk about a rock and a hard place. Your classic Scylla and Charybdis, the devil in the deep blue sea. That's a lot more murder than you see in a Disney movie. The Little Mermaid takes the knife. She sneaks into the ship's honeymoon suite. She raises the blade over the sleeping prince, poised to stab him to death. She can't do it. She drops the knife. She leaves the room. She slips over the rail of the ship and into the water, where she dissolves into sea foam. She has lost her remaining 285 mermaid years. She has lost her brief humanity. And most tragically, she has lost what she gambled everything for, a chance at a soul. It's all over. I read and reread that story until my thumbs were the print off the pages. I wanted to find the loophole, the escape hatch, the way it could all end differently. What could the Little Mermaid have done to stop that wedding? I thought through the tricks I knew for getting my way. She could cry. She could have a tantrum. She could throw up. Nothing is more effective at bringing a party to a screeching halt than a little surprise vomit, and I knew that from my fourth birthday. Couldn't she find a way to tell him who she really was? Couldn't she write a note? It wouldn't have to be elaborate, just a quick, hey, it's me, I saved you that time, can't talk anymore, but I've got this notepad, so. My little type A brain obsessed over this fictional dilemma for years. It wasn't fair that she couldn't write her way out of this. I thought about it often at night, falling asleep, raging against Neptune, dreaming of undersea education reform. Forget the backstroke. Mermaids should be taught their letters. As with a lot of old-timey tales, there was a lesson for children tacked on at the end of The Little Mermaid. To be honest, I don't remember what it was. Something about how every time a child makes their bed, the mermaid gets to live another year or something. Whatever the contrived moral, that wasn't the lesson I took away from the story. What I took away was one thing. You want a shot at immortality? Baby, you better learn to write. is fun for me. I get to introduce our next reader. Carissa Stolting is an artist manager and thus has traveled the world with a bunch of weirdo musicians. She's been writing ever since she could pick up a crayon, and this is her second time reading with the amazing group from that time of the month. Her story is called Diary of a Patti Smith Disciple. Please welcome Carissa.